Hey guys, so in this module, we're going to talk about maintaining the relationship that we just started building, okay? And this part's actually a little bit easier. It just takes some habits, some consistency that you need to build to pretty much keep people on a regular schedule. It's kind of like a TV show. People will tune in and watch their favorite shows every week. Or even do some sort of on-demand or ritual, and you want to hit on that. You want to really just make it a habit to mail certain ways and do certain things every single time you do. So we're going to talk about that and a few other things that all help to maintain this relationship. So the basic tenets of maintaining a relationship are this. Number one, it's consistency. You mail at similar times and you have the same mailing habits. You'll notice some people will mail every day at the exact same time. That's because by mailing that, you really build up your fan base, okay? By doing it at the same time, people look for that and look forward to your email. That's why some people are able to promote 20, 30 times a month and still make a lot of money because they have consistency to it. Even if they're pre-promoting something, they'll mail at the same time the night before and when it goes live, sometimes even before it goes live. The second thing you need to do is do what you say you're going to do. So if you're going to make a badass bonus, make a badass bonus. If you say you're going to reply to emails, reply to emails. If you say that this is, going to be the best course you've ever done, well, you better make sure it's like the best damn course you've ever done. It really is that simple. Another basic tenet of maintaining a relationship is replying to your emails. I cannot say this enough. It's one of the best ways. Even if you don't want to do it, hire a virtual assistant to pretend to be you. Make sure they know English though. Another thing you need to do, number 4, is having consistency in your writing. And tips for branding, okay? So, your sign off and things like that. We'll cover that as we go through the slides. And then number 5, high quality everything. Everything from having well done videos to well done pages to well done products. The more quality, the better. That's going to really make you stand out. Okay, so about consistency. So the things you need to do to remain consistent are 1, your mailing times. I've found that mailing between either mailing at 11 a.m. Eastern or 2 p.m. Eastern to be my best times. On the flip side, also mailing at 2 a.m. Eastern does really well too. For structure, now structure is really important too, because if your form and the structure of your email remain the same and similar, it's all going to go towards that branding. So to give you an example, my email structure is in letter format. I try to write mine to read kind of like a personal email or letter. Let me give you an example here. It's not exactly like a letter, but there's no images. I keep links to a minimum of 2 to 3, sometimes even 1. These things just really help build on what I call your voice, okay? And we'll talk more about that in a second. But let's see. So here's my title. My awesome software is done in 24 hours. Sad emoticon. Got me 823 unique opens. Let's see. So here's kind of what it reads like. You'll notice there's no images. I only bold important things. So I say, I am absolutely thrilled that you guys have loved my all-in-one software and case study training. It does so much. But for those of you who have been on the fence, well, it's coming down for good to prevent saturation in less than 24 hours. If you missed all the latest deals and discounts, I've got one more for you, but this is your last chance before we take it all down for good. Why should you care? Put simply, it does absolutely everything and saves you a ton of money you'd have to spend on multiple services every month. It builds pages, it has an autoresponder, blah, blah, blah. You get the idea. And then I always sign off with something and then Steve. Now, for me, my consistency tends to be in my name. I always sign off as Steve. 1, because even though my name is Steven, it's like a personal name. So if you have like a nickname or something that your friends call you, sign off as that because it makes you sound friendly. I also tend to have PSs. I always bold before my links. This is called, what I call this is a lead-in. I always bold my lead-in. All right. Let me give you another example here. Just go back in time when I'm not promoting my software. Okay, so here's an email I did recently. I think it was about a week ago, maybe 2 weeks. I say, let's face it, learning ecom can take a long while. Even if it's all you focus on for a week in between work and sleep, it's still easy to feel lost and isolated, and even nervous because of the cost of ads. That's why Greg and I want to do a free live training with no pitch that shows you how we do everything from set up our ads to set up our store and give you 10 proven to sell ecom products. We'll even show you how we find them. But before you come, you need to have access to whatever I was promoting, because we use that to quadruple our clicks and get more bang for our buck. However, sorry, my nose itches. I wanted you to make sure you didn't miss out, because in 8 hours the price goes up to $47. Now why wait when you can get this added training as well as tool that can really help you even if you don't use it for ecom like we do. Watch the video here to see all our bonuses, including all the info on the live session. Secure your spot on the call here. If you can't make it to no pitch training, don't worry, we'll record it, blah blah blah. Talk soon, Steve and Greg. So just like last time, I bold and sign off. Now how this one differs from the previous email I just read is this one's more written as personal. Okay, you can see I say you, I'm talking to you, so it sounds like it's more personal. I actually messed up on the last one and sent it to all, but I wrote it in a hurry. But it's always good to try to focus on the personal, right? So I try to avoid sometimes, if I can, saying hey y'all or hey everyone, but I do sometimes do it. But as a general rule of thumb, the more personal you can write your emails, the better. Email flow. This is a perfect opportunity to talk about email flow. What I mean by that, and it kind of ties into number 4. It says number 3, email flow. Number 4, finding your voice, okay? And what I mean by this is, you'll notice it reads really well. When I write an email, I go through it. I read it in my head and see if there's anything while I'm reading it that makes me pause in my head. Because it, like, say it's like not right. My head goes, wait, that's not right. And then I remove that. Because when someone is reading this, if they pause, it's taking them out of your story, out of your email, and you don't want that. You want it to be a straight line of consistent thought with no distractions all the way down to the link. So things that make people pause or like double take in their head are typos, misplaced commas, or even if things sound funny. Like a lot of people, especially some of my students, they had a problem where they would write the email and part of it wouldn't flow. Like the sentence would have a word that didn't sound good there, and it would throw off the whole flow and voice of the email. And so you would get to, like, let's face it, learning it. Wait a second, that's not right. That's what you know. That's what people say in their head when they're reading. So I always try to read it in my head, and then I read it out loud. And by doing both of those things, you can find where it can give people trouble when it comes to reading it, because you don't want people to have trouble. You want them to be stuck in this box. You want them to be stuck in the story, in the narrative, without being taken out. And when there's a typo or a word that doesn't flow well with the sentence, it can really kick them out of the attention that you've grabbed. So let's go through this one and see if we messed up anywhere. Let's face it, learning ecom can take a long while. Even if it's all you focus on for a week in between work and sleep, it's still easy to feel lost and isolated, and even nervous because of the cost of ads. That's why Greg and I want to do a free live training with no pitch that shows you how we do everything from set up our ads to set up our store and give you 10 proven to sell ecom products. We'll even show you how we find them. But before you come, you need to have access to SociSpot. See, that kind of messes me up, right? Because of the dot. What's soak? Oh, social. So it took me out of the story. So I would have done better there to just say SociSpot. But at the same time, I was trying to avoid spam. Like sometimes when launch names are mailed a lot, it'll start flagging spam. So I was trying to avoid it by changing the first word, but you see, it was at the cost of taking me out of the flow. So it should have been, before you come, you need to have access to SociSpot, because we use that to quadruple our clicks and get more bang for our buck. However, I wanted to make sure you didn't miss out, because in 8 hours the price goes up for $47. And why wait when you can get this added training as well as tool that can really help you even if you don't use it for ecom like we do. So that could have used a comma, because that was a run-on sentence. So that would probably mess people up too. Watch the video here to see all of our bonuses, including all the info on the live session. Secure your spot on the call here. If you can't make it to the No Pitch training session, don't worry. We'll record it. We want you guys to have this so you can get set up and going right away with one of the most profitable ways to make money online. Talk soon. Steve and Greg. So 2 mess ups there. It would have been better if I had caught those the first time, so it would have kept people within the story, because anytime anything like that removes people from their natural flow when they're reading it is a bad thing. So hopefully that gives you an example of what I mean. Now, when it comes to finding your voice, you want to just write kind of like you talk, but also in a promotional way. You'll notice in this email, I kind of hit on some emotional triggers, talking about how they feel lost and isolated, or maybe even nervous because of how expensive it is. And then I provide myself as the solution. I provide what I'm doing is how that's going to help them. And then I say, but if you're going to come and I'm the solution, you have to get this first. So this is what I call selling the bonuses. I was selling the bonuses I was doing, trying to convert more people. The email did pretty well. I think we did an additional $800 in sales from this email, which isn't too bad considering it was the 3rd time I mailed for it. Again, that's me talking about reading out loud. And the last thing you need to do for consistency is optimize for mobile. Now, it used to be when you were writing emails, let me just show you. You would hit enter, you would line break to keep it short, but you don't need to do that anymore, especially with Aweber, okay? Because if you do, it just starts to look funky on mobile. So if I'm typing like this, and I line break, or even if I just format it well, and it ends up being like this. What ends up happening is on mobile, it actually looks like this. And now it looks all funky. Now with Aweber, you don't even need the line break anymore. It does it for you. Okay, so paragraph, paragraph, paragraph. And what happens is when you preview it, if you send it to mobile, the mobile apps are going to optimize that for you so that it doesn't look funky. But if you manually add a line break, the mobile apps are just going to line break. And then you end up with a break in the line that really, again, messes with the flow. My phone's dead, so I can't show you an example, but just know that you do not need to line break anymore, because 60 or 70% of traffic is all on mobile now, and if it looks funky and makes it harder to read, which is just bad for your email. So always keep that in mind. Now, the next thing you need to do when it comes to maintaining a relationship is do what you say, all right? Because number one, nobody likes a liar. And if you keep your word, if you put out good bonuses, if you over-deliver, people are going to be surprised, and they're going to remember that, because so many people don't keep their word. Seriously, it sounds easy, but you know as well as I do that you get caught up at home or doing something else, and you just kind of forget. So if you say you're going to talk to them later in the day or talk to them tomorrow morning, be sure to do that. Mail them later in the day, mail them later, or mail them the next morning, even to the whole autoresponder. You got to keep your word. So it's like online, your word is gold. That's all you have. And if you tell them they're going to get a bonus, make sure they get their bonus and as quick as possible. And if you say you're going to answer questions, answer the damn questions. People don't like to be held up. They don't like to be let down is better. They don't like to be told something and then you not follow through. Another great thing you can do for relationship maintaining is, again, reply to your emails personally, because people love it. It's a plus. It's a great way to build a relationship. It's even a good angle. It makes you feel real to them, and it makes you stand way above the crowd. Now, the last things for consistency you need to do going back to the emails are these few things. All right, you need to work on your sign off. So let's look at my sign off here as a couple examples so that you can see how I change it off. Okay. Okay, so here I sign off as Stephen G. All right, now the only reason I did this was because I mailed unopens. Over here, I sign off as Steve. A lot of times I sign off as Steve. Let me find another example because we'll cover why I changed that sign off in one of the next modules. So let me find one that I mailed to the whole list because that one was just to opens. Or sorry, unopens. Alright, so on this one, you can see that I sign off as Steven. So I say, cheers, Steven. Sometimes I'll sign off as Steve. Sometimes I'll say happy hump day. Basically, ideally what you want to do is be really consistent with your sign off and your name. And you can even do what I call like a middle name, okay? Oh, hang on. Because like I change it up. It really just depends. If I have a new list, I'll start signing off as Stephen Gilbert, and then in parentheses put you can call me Steve, and then I'll just start signing off as Steve. Sometimes I'll sign off as Steven, but for consistency, the main things I use. Okay, so right here where it says Happy Hump Day, I'll say cheers or talk soon. And then occasionally, if it's like an event, I'll say something like Happy Memorial Day or Happy Hump Day. Right here, I said Happy Hump Day to remind them that they have to work. It's kind of like an evil trick. Happy Hump Day, you have to work tomorrow. Maybe you should buy this. Sounds dumb. But it's like I'm trying to psychologically trigger them. But, you know, I always put a little dash there as if I'm actually signing a letter. Another thing I sometimes like to do, I would put like Steve and then how I'm feeling. So it'd be like Steve, freaking exhausted Gilbert, you know. I got that trick from Ben Atkins. He does that. Let me give you an example here. Gmail always takes so long to load. There we go. And oh look, people have started copying. Oh man. So we'll cover this, but when I promote my own stuff, I always give away free copies. I guess Bertus has decided to copy the contest that I do. I've been doing this for years, but hey, I guess my contests are gonna stop working. That's funny. But let's look at Ben Atkins, and you can see sometimes he'll do this middle thing here that I'm talking about. Let's see. Well, not recently, it seems. Making you look bad, Dr. Ben. Golly. It usually does it. Come on, just let me find one. Ugh. Let's try this. Here we go. Maybe? Maybe? Nope. Basically, what he does is he'll be like, Ben, super tired, Atkins. Just kind of to give like a personal input into there. That works really well. It's a good way to add personality. That's what I mean by middle name. For more personality, you'll see a lot of times in my PS, I'll talk about what's been going on with me and my life. That's a way that I include, you know, the tidbits into the email, and it follows the tenet of always be relationship building. Let's see. Try to give you an example here. found this before I started the video. Basically, I try to include personal tidbits, like you saw with the colic example on ConvertKit right here. That's another way I add personality, is just keep them inside my narrative like I spoke about before. And again, when it comes to voice and finding your voice, read the email you write out loud. If it doesn't sound good out loud, then it's not going to sound good in their head. You know, you want it to sound like you're having an actual conversation. So it's very important to read it out loud so that it sounds nice. All right, because that's going to be the consistency that keeps them in that thought loop that we've been talking, or not the thought loop, the narrative that we've been talking about. Now, the other thing that I highly recommend is use video whenever possible, okay? Whether that's for a custom bonus you make, or for free training, or for your reviews. Just, you know, get on video and pretend you're teaching or talking to a friend, even if it's over coffee. You want it to sound casual and conversational, because using a video is the #1 way to build relationships with people, because they can see your face, they can hear your tone of voice, they can hear your inflection, they can decide if you're telling the truth or not, they can decide if they trust you, they can decide if they distrust you, they can decide if they like you, don't like you. So video is huge, and anytime you can put yourself on video, whether it's for a bonus, for a promotion, or any of those things that I've listed, you're going to be increasing your relationship points with someone, okay? Video is huge. Just like you're watching me teach right now and talk with my hands and everything else, you can get a lot more across on video than you can via text. And of course, we'll cover review videos and how to make them in a sheet in the next module. So that wraps up Module 4. Let's move on to Module 5.